Hello, everyone. You guys get extra book club points for joining the Wednesday before our holiday break, before Christmas. So thank you all so much for being here tonight. And if you're watching the recording, thank you for taking the time to watch the recording. We know it is a very busy time of year. We hope those of you who celebrate all the holidays have enjoyed them, are enjoying them. And again, thank you so much for taking the time today. So this is the New York, Pennsylvania, North Carolina book club for Seven Mighty Moves. We're so glad to have you all. I am Lynn Carpenter from the Reading League New York, and it is, as I said, just such an honor also to be here with this esteemed group of people. So just as a reminder, we are recording this evening, as you can see, and this will be shared out afterwards. And I'm just going to point out our mission is to advance the awareness, understanding, and use of scientific aligned reading instruction throughout our states. Whoops.
All
So I
right.
think I would turn this over to Pam now.
Okay. So these are our 5 big goals nationally and across our state chapters. Of course, we're always about sharing the science of reading with you and professional development with teachers and administrators and being partners across the country with other literacy organizations across the country as well. So we're excited to partner not only with our state chapters, but certainly with other chapters that have similar goals. Then we'll go to the next slide. And we know how important higher ed is to beginning that journey in the science of reading and continuing that. And so we're always partners with our higher ed institutions. We're so glad when they participate with us and our partners. And of course, parents are our first and forever teachers for our students. So we're excited to always partner with them as well. There you go.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, everybody. I am Linda from the Reading League North Carolina, and I am just so excited to share about, we already have 29 chapters across the U.S. established, the state chapters, and we are so excited. We're going to be welcoming 5 more states in February. So be on the lookout for some of your friends across the nation who have been waiting for their moment too. It is coming. And there are other people kind of waiting in the wings as well. So we're just really thrilled to be a part of this nationwide network of leaguers. Thanks for being a part of it.
Sorry, I just realized after all these years, I just started talking unmuted. So thank you all so much. We're going to go ahead and get started. So this is Move 2. It's about teaching phonics explicitly and systematically, and it is facilitated by the Reading League New York. And just, of course, everything about what we do with the Reading League is about research. Research informs instruction, and then our data steers our instruction. So 2 of the main points that we want to make before we really get started is, of course, phonics is the system we use to teach the sound symbol correspondence of the English language. And one thing I really want to stress tonight is that the Reading League is program agnostic. We're going to talk about some programs this evening. I work at the Churchill School and Center in New York City. It's a school for students with language-based learning disabilities. We use the Wilson program. That's what we're going to be talking about. We're talking about because that's the program at my school. And I'm thrilled that Dr. Katie Pace-Miles is about to join us. She's going to talk about her programs, but that does not mean we're advocating that you use a specific program. I just want to be very clear about that. So just a brief research overview before we get into it. Why do we need to teach the code? As many of us already know, there are approximately 44 sounds in English, but only 26 letters. But there's over 250 ways to spell those 44 sounds, which is, as my kids would say, bonkers. But 50% of all English words are regular. And then 36% more can be spelled accurately, except for one phoneme, such as the word in from or been, as Lindsay points out in her book. So this is why we need to teach the code. You just can't get there without it. You cannot become a proficient, efficient reader without the code. And what are the instructional implications from this chapter? We need a systematic instruction that teaches letter sound correspondence in a clear, sequential, well thought out order. We need that explicit instruction, as Anita Archer has told us. I do, we do, you do, and cannot stress enough. What program you use is often actually not up to you, but you need to use a program. It's just too much without it. And one thing that is helpful, the Reading League has its own curriculum evaluation guidelines, which are free. You can just go onto the website, just enter in your information, and you'll be able to download it. And just to give you a brief example, this is from the phonics section of the curriculum evaluation guidelines. These are the things we want to see that align with the science of reading, things that you're looking for in your reading programs. So that things are being taught explicitly, that there is well thought out, that all these things are part of the lessons. And these are the components. This is from the book, The Components of an Effective Phonics Lesson. Review, stating your goal and purpose, giving a warm-up, introducing a new concept, all of these things. And what's important to note is that your order may change based on how you think your students are doing, what is happening in your classroom. You might find a different order, a different program, but the components are what do not change. So you want to make sure you're hitting these parts of a lesson plan when you're teaching phonics. And here are systematic phonic programs that we are going to be talking about this evening. So all of these, it's teaching all the major letter sound correspondence in a clear, sequential, well thought out order, logically connecting skills, and the lessons are building on each other. And I believe Dr. Miles has signed on if she's there to join us.
Hi, Lynn and colleagues. Thanks for having me. It's great to see all of you. So I'm in Brooklyn, New York. I was just looking at where everyone's coming from. It's so nice to see everyone. Lynn asked me to come on because I'm the author of one of the programs, Reading Ready, and the academic advisor for Reading Go, two programs that we use around New York City for intervention work, and we distribute them using grant funds across New York. So critical considerations when it comes to any phonics program, though, as Lynn was saying, we're not promoting any of these programs. And again, my work is mostly all distributed through grants. It doesn't matter what program you're using. It really matters that you have a critical and analytic eye with regards to whatever is put in front of you or whatever you have the jurisdiction to choose. So of course, you want to make sure that the program has been designed with a phonics scope and sequence that is developmentally tailored to the children who are in front of you. So the two programs, Lynn said, just contextualize this, ground this for the audience. Well, the one program that I wrote, Reading Ready, it actually has quite a limited phonics scope and sequence. It's 10 units of phonetic concepts that are intentional with regards to either lifting a child up into word reading or remediating at this very emergent word reading moment for young children. The other one, Reading Go, picks up where Reading Ready leaves off, and then you get this 2-page phonics scope and sequence. So that's more for our first and second graders, where Reading Ready is designed for our kindergartners and first graders who are striving readers or emergent readers. There's two supplemental documents that I always want to make sure people have access to. And that's this blue guide that I wrote and a green one. One is the parent guide. And what I did in this parent guide is I deconstructed the tutoring program. The tutoring program has a peach cover. That's the tutoring program we use where students get between 30 to 60 one-on-one or small group intervention sessions in New York City. We wanted parents to be able to have access to the program. We want it to be digestible. We also wanted them to see what types of structured literacy activities could you do with young children. And parents are having great success with this. All of the target items, all the words that you would find in the educator guide are in this guide. So you can see as an educator, you'll be able to deduce what the phonetic concepts are there. Also, I can give you access to the phonics scope and sequence, of course. And then you'll also see in the word analysis guide, we have more elaborate activities that you can do with students of all ages. You can adjust them. And at the end of this talk, we'll make sure you have the links to get those. So in your phonics lesson, Lynn, would you like me to continue or would you like to?
Yeah, you could continue. You're Dr. Katie Pace Miles. I think you should continue.
I think I should not. I think you should take it from your mind.
Sorry.
I guess
So
Lynn
yes,
and
we're going over.
Go ahead.
This is
We-
my fault. This is completely my fault. I'm sorry.
No, this is great. It flows beautifully because really we've had these robust conversations, Lynn and I, about there are many ways to get this done. There are many ways to tackle a structured phonics lesson. There really are, but the components really do stay the same. So you might be doing one of 10 different phonemic awareness activities, but the key is you really should start with some type of let's hear the sounds we're then going to map to letters. And so here's a video from Reading Ready. And this is one of our tutors, Diana and Mackenzie, and they're just going to show you a really simple activity. Go ahead, Lynn. Hi, I'm Dr. Katie Pace-Miles, and thanks for being part of Reading Ready. In this video, we will demonstrate blending of individual for when you do the activity.
Watch and listen and repeat after me. It. Your turn.
It. It.
Watch and listen and repeat after me. At. Your turn.
At.
Now that you've watched this video, you know how to
Thank
help
you,
a
Lynn.
child blend. So that's the most basic. We selected the most basic activity that we have in the program. There are 8 different phonemic awareness activities, though. So this is one of 8, and it is the most basic or earliest target words that we use in the program. So you can imagine how this scales over the course of 30 to 60 sessions, and the students get quite sophisticated, moving from 2 blocks all the way up to words with 4 sounds, even at sometimes 5 sounds. And also there are moments when they're doing blocks that represent parts of compound words. So it matters where your student is developmentally. It matters what kind of materials you're going to use. Hopefully you'll make this a multimodal. And it matters that you start with sounds that you are then going to, and we're going to get to this next, Lynn. We're going to map it to letters.
Right. So as Katie was saying, this is what's so important when you're introducing a new grapheme-phoneme correspondence. As she said, multimodal, hear it, say the sound, see the sound. So let's show you that.
That's right. So this is from Reading Go. This is a program up, but we're still this child. This is Paula. You saw Lizelle in the last video, and Diana, the tutors. They're working with a child who is an emergent reader who happens to be at the very beginning of Reading Go. What you want to pay attention to here is how structured this magnetic letters protocol is. Go ahead.
Georgie, so now we're going to move on to part 3. Can you go ahead and flip your blue card? Great.
In part 3 phonics for magnetic letters, you'll always need a set of your blue and red magnetic letters. You want to be prepared and have the letters that you need for that part of the activity ready to go so that all you have to do is slide the letters over to the student.
I'm going to build this word for you. T-H-E. This word is then. Thank you. Yes. So I went to the store and then I went to the park. So we're going to work on digraph TH. And TH says v. Can you say the word then?
Then.
Good
Watch
job.
the notes
We're
at the
gonna hold our
bottom.
hands together like this, and we're gonna stretch out the sounds so we could hear the sounds in the word slowly. Are you ready?
Okay.
Then. Good. One more time. Then. Awesome. Now we're gonna hold up our fingers for each sound we hear in the word then. Are you ready? Go ahead. How many sounds we heard?
I heard 3.
That's right. I heard 3 sounds too. So now I want you to pull down the letters that says each sound in the word then.
T, H.
So I'll stop you right there. That was great. This is TH, but what sound does TH make together? Yes. Keep going. Great.
Then.
Good job. And now I'm going to remove some letters. So I'm going to remove EN, and now we have TH. So TH says, now I want you to take your finger and we're going to trace TH on the table, okay? And as we're tracing it, we're going to say TH says, are you ready? Go ahead. TH says, awesome. Now we're going to hold out our strong arm, okay? Put a little support there. Yeah, whichever one you want, that's perfect. And now we're going to trace TH in the air, okay? And say TH says, are you ready? TH says, great job, Georgie. And now we're going to play a quick game, okay? So I'm going to have my letters apart. And now as I point to each letter, you're going to tell me the sound it makes. Are you ready? Good job. Now let's see how quick you can do it now. Good job. And what's the word?
Then.
Good. Another quick game. I'm going to scramble my letters around. And can you spell the word then? What's our word?
Then.
Perfect. One. Do it 2 more times.
That's
I'll
good,
just
Lynn.
stop the video there. Thank you. And just so everyone knows, before Katie continues, we are going to make these videos available after after tonight.
That's great. And I want to say there's a follow-up lesson that's, as many of you can imagine. Well, TH makes 2 sounds, and at the beginning, you probably saw the banner at the bottom. So there's a follow-up lesson to this. So it's like, okay, we learned that TH and then was making this, and it goes on. I don't have to tell you all. And then there's word sorts where you're contrasting the sounds, etc. So this is just where, whenever you're looking at a snapshot, there's a whole context that goes around this. Okay. So that's one way. And Lynn, yes?
Did you want to, sorry. Did you,
No, no, you keep going.
Okay, I'm going to keep going. So I'm not going to actually take the time necessarily right now to show these, just in the interest of time. But these are going to be available. These are 2 different Wilson reviews happening at the Churchill School. Ironically, for whatever reason, it was diagraph day everywhere, and that's what everybody is doing. But it's going to show you when you watch it later what many of you are already familiar with, which is just the sound warm up and a review. So I suggest watching that as well. Whoops. Okay. And so now Katie is going to, oh, and sorry, this is also just a reading word lesson from Wilson. I'll just show you a quick clip of this. Let me just see how this sound works out for us. This is Anne Margaret Sullivan at Churchill.
Okay. So I would like you to look at sentence number 1 and find the digraphs and underline them.
Lynn, it's a bit low.
Yeah, I was going to say, okay, I'm going to let you all, that's for whatever reason, the sound on that one isn't so great. But of course, after you do the sound review, you're obviously going to be working on reading actual words as one of your next steps. Oops.
That's right. So just to review, so we were saying in your structured phonics lesson, you're going to do this phonemic awareness warm-up. You're then going to move into introducing the phonetic concept. The phonetic concept should be connected to whatever your phonemic awareness activity was. So ideally, if we could have dug through all of our videos, we would have found a phonemic awareness activity that targeted the TH sound. Then we would have done that letter sound introduction with TH. From there, we would go into some type of word, and now I always call it word analysis. Lynn's calling it word reading. That's when we're able to work with and analyze numerous words that would have the TH sound. So that would be the direct continuity of that letter sound. We don't have that luxury here right now. So we've embedded a word chain here. We don't have to play it, but this is a part of our program. So you just want to remember that phonetic concept should be your through line all the way through. Okay, so we have word chains, and we also included another video on word mapping.
So I will go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say you could play these or not. It's totally up to you and time.
I think we're good to play this one because I think this one will be helpful to see as well. And then we can move on. And as I said, you'll have other videos because I know we want to do our breakout room discussions, but this one's short.
Spell words. In this video, we will demonstrate how to get students to analyze each letter-sound relationship in words. During the activity, children will learn to write the
You can
letters
fast forward
that
a
make
little bit.
each sound in the word using this sound letter activity sheet. Let's watch as the adult does the word mapping activity with the child.
Watch and listen and say this word after me. Pat. Pat. Now, listen and watch as I say the sounds in the word pat. P, at, p, at. Now watch and listen as I point to the sounds in pat. P, at, pat. P, at, pat. Now I want you to move a chip into the gray boxes for each sound that you hear in the word pat. P, at. Now spell pat by writing the letters that make each sound in the white box. Now let's check our spelling. P-A-T, pat. All right.
Now you've seen how to do
So one really important thing here, and I know Pam Kastner and I, we've been talking about this going back and forth on emails. It's about using the word in a sentence. And so one thing to note is this child knew the word pat. There was some context where the word pat had been used before in a sentence and whatnot, but it has made me think about using these videos in isolation. And some of my research is on if that word had been the word that, right? Because TH, remember, we would have pulled TH as our thread from phonemic awareness into introduction into word analysis. The word that is a function word. And particularly if you're working with a student for whom English is a new language, you absolutely need to use the word that in a sentence. So you want to make sure that whenever you're doing these types of activities, if there's any chance the student doesn't know, maybe it's even the multiple meanings of pat or a function word, whatever it is. Okay, I just couldn't let that go. Sorry, Lynn.
No, thank you so much. And I also just want to point out that I know just the way the videos are set up, these are all one-on-one activities you're seeing, but this of course can all be done small group, classroom. This can all be done in that manner. It's just that the videos themselves are one-on-one. And one of the reasons why I asked Katie to join tonight and why I really wanted to feature the program is because it is available. You know, not all of the programs are available, but the caregiver guide and everything that Katie has shown. So if you are using a phonics program because your district has told you to do so, I think there's some really wonderful activities that you can use from these programs that you can supplement with, because not every program meets the Reading League, the standards. Not every program is necessarily going to address it as quickly or at the right pace that your students need. So I think this is where you do have that luxury of kind of as an educator of stepping in and saying, you know what, I think I need to do a little more, some word mapping activities before I move on to lesson 2.A or, you know, whatever it is in the sequence that you're following. So I just wanted to point that out.
So another word, yeah, so we just wanted to make sure you had 3 examples of word analysis activities. So we provided word chains, word mapping, and word sorts. We don't need to show this video, but for anyone new to the profession, anyone who hasn't used word sorts, they're a great activity to use in a particular way though. You want to make sure that it is a contrast between confusable graphemes, confusable sounds. You want to make sure that there's a reason why you would be using the word sort. Are you going to do it to clarify the spellings, the different spelling patterns or whatnot? So here we have review and solidify phonics skills,
And you can be sure to use these to demonstrate how there's multiple ways to spell the same sound.
Thank you. Oops. And same goes for reading decodable sentences. We're not going to play the video right now, but as you can imagine, the next step is you're going to be reading decodable phrases and sentences before one moves on past all this, you know, into more authentic text. But part of your phonics lesson is always going to is going to include a moment for decodable text and time for them to practice those skills in sentences.
That's right. And what we find, again, the Reading Ready and Reading Go are often used as intervention for students. So we do start them on basic phrases. And I'm sorry, that says phases, but phrases. Then you're going to build up to complete sentences. And then you're going to get them into their earliest decodable text. If you have access to decodable texts that are highly controlled to that phonetic element for the most emergent readers, then by all means, start there or break it down page by page. I work with very, very emergent readers. And so I have found that I need to be very considerate about what the expectation is when I'm putting something in front of them. And decodable book is awesome. Just make sure that you set the expectation that we're going to read the first page today or the first 2 pages. I just want to make sure that is stated. And also the size of the print can really matter. So again, with my most emergent students in the book, whatever it is that you'll get from Reading Ready, you'll see the sentences there, but that does not at all mean that they should read the sentences in that font or that print. I use whiteboards, and one sentence could take up the whole whiteboard for the most emergent student who's going to tap and slide and move through that sentence.
Thank you. And then lastly, we're just going to talk about dictation for a moment. This video in particular is a little bit long, so we're not going to show it. But Katie, if there's anything, do you want to just speak to how one uses dictation?
Sure. Dictation is critical. We use it with our older students, and by older, I mean our first graders, first and second graders. It's a part of every single lesson that we do. The students we use a sentence from the book that they've read, and we repeat the sentence numerous times. And then we have a coding system of the words that have been selected are words that the student either knows how to spell, can use sound letter boxes, and it could be a high frequency irregularly spelled word where they're going to practice spelling it 3 times. And finally, there could be just one, at most, if the sentence is longer, 2 words that the student doesn't know how to spell, but we're not going to belabor that spelling. We're going to give it. So our tutors, our students, our teachers are trained in this protocol for dictation to be very thoughtful about the sentence they choose and to help students move through a dictation activity that's highly engaging, very cognitively it's like this cognitive wraparound to all of the reading and spelling they've been doing. It comes into play right here in dictation. Of course, you've got all of your writing mechanics at play as well.
Thank you. So before our next step is going to be, once I figure out how to stop doing that, we're going to actually have time now and take a moment for our breakout rooms where we sort of talk about the idea of what are we going to, just as we did last time, what are we going to stop doing? What are we going to keep doing? And what are we going to start doing? But before that, I just want to say thank you so much to Katie for joining us this evening. It was such an honor, as always, to have you. And I really appreciate you. And I know everyone else just is taking the time to walk us through all of that.
It's such an honor to be here. Go Reading Lead, go all of you members doing this. This is wonderful. So thank you for having me.
Thanks so much, Katie. And so now I'm actually going to ask our good friends in Pennsylvania who know how to work a breakout room much better than their people in New York, if they can take over this part.
Okay, so thank you for joining us tonight. And the really important part of a book study is to have a chance to have some conversation. So we're going to go ahead and take 15 minutes in a breakout room, and we just wanted to set some norms and expectations. So if you are not able to participate in a breakout room conversation and you want to hear the wrap up sort of at the end, you can just come back to the main room with us and hang out with your camera off or whatever. Go get a drink, whatever. But if you are in a room, we would really encourage you to participate. Turn your camera on, be willing to at least say hi to everyone, even if you just want to listen. If you end up in a room where there's no one there and no one talking, and you really would like to have some conversation, please come back to the main room and we will reassign you. So we want to encourage that all voices are heard. So some of your rooms will have facilitators from our 3 chapters in the room with you, and some rooms won't. So please give each other a chance to speak and talk to something that you found powerful in the book, something that you want to keep doing, something that maybe you're stumped with, and then we're going to do a call back to the main room and share some highlights and wrap up for the evening. So here we go. Opening all rooms, and anyone who is a co-host, if you'd like to come back, just let me know, or just come back.
Can you share the prompts for the room?
Sure.
Yeah.
So we are following the structure of the text, and we are just going to be talking about what will you keep doing, what will you start doing, and what will you stop doing. So you can just sort of think about that every time you meet together. Those are Lindsay's structures for each of the chapters for the moves. So just stick to that. Easy. Oh, we hope your groups are fabulous, and maybe Dr. Pam Kasser's nodding furiously. Would you like to share a tidbit? We have about 10 minutes to sort of debrief and share.
Well, I think I'll let our group share because they were just absolutely amazing. Rather than myself, we had such a really rich conversation. So I'm going to let Kate or Angelique or Shelley share. So do you guys want to unmute and share?
We just highlighted at our state level that we're planning to do a book club using 7 moves, and we just finished uncovering the logic of English. So we were excited to kind of come and see how, get ideas and see how the strategies that everyone's using. So that's kind of what we're moving forward with at our state level.
Hey, do you want to share anything?
I was just trying to figure out how to unmute myself. I mean, we really talked about the really critical importance of being systematic and sequential in providing students with these foundational skills so that they can go on to be proficient and literate members of a world community. It's so important. And the book really gives some really great examples of different things that we can do, whole group and small group. So it was a great conversation. I enjoyed it.
Shelley wants to add anything, but she has a sick child and she was sleeping on her shoulder and still she was here. So God bless her. So she's probably taking care of her.
Lori, would you like to share?
Sure. I grew up, yes, I am unmuted. Had some really good discussions about keep doing. We had some that were doing both UFly, some were doing Wilson foundations. And then we had a really interesting conversation about spelling, especially in regards to page 48, about moving from the kindergarten and first grade pairing spelling and phonics instruction close together and then separating them second grade and above. So Dale, did I get that right? Anything else you wanted to share about that? Or Amy or Joanna in our group, they were really good. If anyone can offer suggestions or thoughts on that, and that would be helpful.
Yeah, so the comment actually came from me, and so Lori I happen to be in the same breakout room, and she's the lit coach in my district. So just ironic, but I just been talking to Lori last week about we're using UFly, and I teach second grade, so I'm a second grade gen ed teacher. And one of the problems I've been running into, I was talking to her about, was it's hard for the kids in second grade to start to keep up with some of these spelling patterns with the vowel teams getting, we did long I vowel teams today. We did IE, IGH. Yesterday we did OA, OW. And so what I was saying was the dictated sentence for some of my tier 2 kids, and especially my tier 3 kids in UFly, can be very challenging. And so on page 48, it talked about how K1 pairing phonics and spelling, which is what I'm doing in 2nd grade, works well, but above 2nd grade, maybe splitting the spelling out because the phonics can move a lot faster for reading than it can for spelling. And I was saying to Lori, I think that kind of is ringing true in my classroom. That it seems like they're able to take on the EEEA in reading, but trying to use it in spelling is much more challenging. And that's one of the things I'm running into with the UFly assessment and the dictation. What is helping is that a lot of times the word they're used in the blending, like they were saying earlier, the thread of the phonemic awareness follows through to the word blending, that follows through to the word writing and the dictated sentence. That definitely helps. But the pace of 2 days on a vowel team, on 3 vowel teams and then moving on it's quick to try to get it into spelling. So I guess I was just wondering about that.
I think that what Dr. Katie Pace-Miles was talking about with being, cognizant of your students and their needs. We have students that, will be fine with that pace, and other students that need a lot more practice. But sorting, making sure that kids know the patterns. When do we use OA and when do we use OW for the long vowel sounds, and practicing those constructs of English spelling and orthography are going to be important for those students that need additional practice. So I think that pacing piece, and as an interventionist, knowing how much practice it takes to get those patterns down in spelling. So we have lots of spelling links in the chat, and I'm hoping that what your group talked about is making sure that we do have dictation as part of our phonics lesson, because we know that spelling, right, is much more difficult and is sort of that window into what students know. So that's a great compliment. I'm hoping that you are able to type in your takeaways if you didn't get a chance to share. We have a few more minutes. We want to just wrap up. So I'm going to throw it back to Lynn to next steps.
Thank you. I was just, as you were talking, I was rolling our credits basically. Here's some information for staying connected to New York and North Carolina and Pennsylvania. We are all run on donations. If you are so inclined, you can donate here and here and here for all of our respective chapters. As Dr. Kastner, as Pam just put in, our next session is going to be led by Pennsylvania, January 17th, teaching decoding strategies, not cueing strategies, which we're excited for. And there's some other upcoming events. New York is hosting a talk on structured literacy for multi-language learners with Dr. Cardenas Hagen and Dr. Daniel Willingham on improving reading comprehension in February. North Carolina is hosting multilingual learners reading instruction on January 23rd. So we have those coming up. And there is, of course, our journal. And again, I just want to say such a thank you for everyone for joining. I feel like what a great treat for all of us to have a conversation with Dr. Katie Pace-Miles and have Dr. Pam Kastner weighing in, as well as all these other amazing people. That goes for everybody on all the reading leagues, but also just I love getting the breakout rooms and getting to talk to educators from all over and hear what people are doing. And it's so inspiring and really just so grateful to be able to do this with everyone. So we all wish you wonderful holidays, whatever you may celebrate. At the very least, we hope you can enjoy your holiday break without being sick. Like I know everybody's dropping like flies in schools. So, wash your hands and let's all make it through till you get to your holiday. So thank you all so much for just a wonderful evening. We're so appreciative.